Jetpack Cat is probably the most controversial hero added to Overwatch in the past few years. I think Mauga is really the only one that rivals her post Overwatch 2 launch. Because when you look at other controversial heroes, they have one part or one aspect of their kit that people don't like. You look at someone like Sierra, she has her auto tracking dart and also just looks like a Fortnite character. That's really only a problem in lower ranks and becomes irrelevant in the higher ranks. Then you have a character like Demon who just releases really underpowered, who needed some stat tuning, and now she's playable within a week. Of course, Mauga had the problem of just being very overpowered on launch while also having a problematic kit. That's why I think Mauga is one of the more controversial heroes, because his kit is inherently unhealthy for the game. A shoot to sustain is very hard to balance and to feel fair. Self-sustains in general have become very unhealthy for this game, at least in my opinion, and causes this really unnecessary power creep. But it's also the hero fantasy for some of these heroes as well. You look at Roadhog, people switch to Roadhog to be able to heal themselves. They're not getting any healing, they feel like their supports are not doing their job, they're going to switch to Hog. They're also going to switch to Hog if they just want to one-shot people that are on certain maps. But his sustain is an important part of his kit, and it's also what makes him very annoying to deal with. Then you look at a character like Jetpack Cat, who has a few glaring issues that can be seen and are very problematic. And before I get into my problems with Jetpack Cat, I do want to say she is a fun character. I had a lot of fun with her on her launch, probably the most fun I ever had with a hero on launch, but I think how fun she is to play also contributes to how problematic her kit is. One, her permanent flight. Permanent flight has been discussed throughout Overwatch's community for a very long time and has always been seen as something that should never be added into the game. The problem with Jetpack Cat and permanent flight is that you can't take away permanent flight from a character who doesn't have a standing animation. Permanent flight is baked into her kit so hard that a rework around permanent flight just isn't really possible without a complete overhaul of the character, and they have a lot of other things to do than to overhaul a character that just released this year. With permanent flight, she becomes a really good duelist. Her hitbox isn't that big, and just the sheer amount of damage and healing she can output is very high. I think she has the second highest healing per second in the game, and then she has a pretty good self-sustain with per. So she could go in, duel a Tracer, contest an Ashe, contest a 76, probably win that duel. I think Jetpack Cat's probably one of the best duelists in the game right now. Fly back to her team, heal back up, and do it again. She has some of the fastest movement in the game. She has a self-sustain and she has high damage. On top of all that, she has permanent flight. This is a very problematic character and someone that is just waiting for people to find the perfect meta to use her with, or to find the perfect strategy where she becomes completely busted. And some pro players have found this strategy, being Cat Bastion. Now, you're not going to see this happen in your quick play games or your competitive games. It does require some form of communication, which you're not going to be getting out of 99% of your matches. But if you're able to put this comp together, it works out very well. Tether is another very problematic part of Jetpack Cat's kit that is completely separate from all of her other issues. She could duel, she could heal, she could damage very well, and on top of that, she has a tether, which granted, in most games, the tether is useless. It requires some kind of communication. But if you have a high noon, you have a visor, it makes otherwise pretty bad ults very good. You're also able to put players in positions they wouldn't be able to reach before. Maybe with a Life Weaver pedal, but you can position your tank in a certain area where they can't reach normally. You can position your DPS in certain areas where they can't reach normally, and it just creates this whole other element to Overwatch. JPC is a very problematic character, and I don't think Blizzard knows what they want to do with her, considering they buffed her at the start of Season 4, which then led to her having an over 50% win rate in every single rank and over a 55% win rate in Grandmaster and Champion. Even after the hotfix that was released on the Friday after the season launched, she's still maintaining very high win rates and ban rates. And people love to say that, oh, just shoot her, just switch to hit scan, just shoot her out of the sky, it's not that hard. When you have Grandmaster and Champion players and OWCS players that can't take care of a Jetpack Cat, but that's not a proper solution. If you're telling me these players can't aim, I think you're just delusional, because they can aim. They're some of the best aimers in the whole entire game. No, they are the best aimers in the whole entire game. It's not a skill issue, it's a Jetpack Cat issue. She's too fast, she's too strong, and she's too sustainable. But then what is the proper way to balance this character? How do we fix this character? Do we nerf her speed? Do we nerf her fuel? Because then the character just feels like shit to play. Do we nerf her healing output or her damage output? I think her perks are also very problematic. Having 3 pers or the claws out perk just need to be switched. They are too powerful, and they make her, that's what makes her such a good duelist, is her perks. And then you have the whole other issue of Tether, which Tether I think should just be on a resource meter. It should just be a timer. You could pick somebody up for like 5 to 10 seconds and then automatically drops them, and then maybe you have to wait a few seconds to be able to pick them up again. because it's something that won't affect 99% of Jetpack Cat players. Most people won't pick up your Tether. If they do, it's for a few seconds. The people that use Tether the best are the pro players, or people in teams or some kind of communication that are able to talk to each other. Your normal matches typically don't have people abusing Tether. I am really interested to see what Blizzard does about the cat, because she's the most popular hero they added into Overwatch for a very long time. It may be anecdotal, but I have seen so many people on forums say that Jetpack Cat is the reason why they got back into Overwatch. And hell, I had a lot of fun with Jetpack Cat on launch too, and I could see why people love the character. It's a cat on a jetpack. Like, just the whole concept of that is awesome, and it's a character that's been teased 8 years ago at this point, and we finally got her in the game. She's the character I've seen get the most merch, at least probably in the past like 8 years. Like, I've never seen the character get more merch than Jetpack Cat. She has shirts, she has plushes, she has keychains, she has posters, and it makes me a little bit salty because I'm like, man, I wish like Alari had some of this stuff. Like, I would love like an Alari statue or official Alari merchandise, or just like any heroes in general. Like, Jetpack Cat has been treated so well by Blizzard that I don't know what they do to balance her to not drive those people away. Also, Lego Overwatch needs to come back. I would love Overwatch 2 characters in Lego form. And with Blizzard being under Microsoft and Overwatch kind of slowly creeping back into the mainstream again, I could definitely see that happening. Going back to the cat, you also look at the in-store items that she has. She has a bunch of legendary skins. I think she has 3 legendary skins, and she just came out in February. She has a few epic skins, I believe, and she's inside of every single OWCS or OW World Cup bundle. They're not just going to do that for any character. They didn't do that for any other character, but she is in every single one, which means Jetpack Cat has a huge fan base. They probably buy all of her skins, and they're showing her all this love, so I don't think they're ever going to change the core fundamentals of her kit, just like Mercy. There is definitely a way to balance this character where she's still fun to play, but also not as toxic for the game. What those changes are, I'm not completely sure. I'm not a developer. I'm not going to spend weeks theorizing over potential changes that'll never be implemented. But I feel like she is a ticking time bomb for a just really strong cat meta to form, and we're going to be regretting giving her all these buffs. I mean, I truly don't understand why they gave her a buff this season. She didn't need it. She was already performing very well last season, so that season 4 buff was just very mind-boggling and just put her in a very bad spot in players' eyes. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from here with the cat. She is very popular. She is a phenomenon for Overwatch, and she's exactly what people wanted for a long time. Jetpack Cat, everybody always joked about Jetpack Cat being added. She's finally added. She's an oddball character, and people want oddball characters right now. They're tired of conventionally attractive characters, even though skin sales say otherwise. Anyway, let me know how you guys feel about JPC. Do you think she's in a good state right now? Do you think she's very powerful? Do you think she's too powerful? Do you think she has too much kit bloat? What are your feelings on Tether? Just how do you feel about the cat in general? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one.